Hello, and welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Today we have a very, very special guest for the show today. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have two special guests here for the show today. We're going to discuss healthcare in women and women's healthcare issues. So I wanted to get to know the two guests. If y'all are new to knowing who they are, both of them I interviewed, but we're going to start with Kathy. Can you give me a brief bio about yourself?
Sure can. I'm a laughter yoga teacher, a laughter ambassador, laughing for the health of it. And it's also the 23rd anniversary of my worm composting business. What?
Cool.
Worms and laughter, what the heck? And I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto.
Okay, and how about you, Carrie?
Hi, I'm a mother, a shaman, and an author of My Inner Heroine, Exploring Feminine Pain. I also recently accepted all the signs and synchronicities that my soul is the same soul as Mary Magdalene. So I'm here to share my divine wisdom, my feminine wisdom.
Okay. And so what I want to do with both of y'all different, personalities, I wanted to talk and we get together and talk about healthcare. So the first question would be, what are the most common symptoms of perimenopause that women in their early 40s might experience, and how can they impact daily life? And Carrie, you're first.
Thank you for asking that question. I'm 55 now. I started healing when I was 45 from my childhood trauma, which was significant. My early 40s were a nightmare. And I think that these symptoms that I had kind of speak to general symptoms. I had migraines. I had so much anxiety. I had a hard time going in the sun because I was just so overwhelmed with input. I couldn't sleep. I was losing my hair. My skin was getting dry. Like I had a lot of physical ailments because I didn't know how to take care of myself emotionally. So I would look for in the 40s, if you're having a hard time exercising, maintaining a healthy diet, having healthy relationships, and then your hormones are off, because that's when our hormones start changing. Ask yourself, how much time am I spending in my right brain, in my forgiveness, compassion, nurturing, creation, intuition, femininity? Because I was like avoiding the right brain and all left brain, but that's where that's where our feminine hormones get created from, is from our right brain. And when I figured that out, then I started getting better and all those challenges went away.
Well said. And how about you, Kathy?
Yeah, in addition to what Carrie said, with that, I would add that stress is a huge component in how we cope with any changes in our life, and it compromises everything. But in addition to that, I would say sleep issues, memory, like just the mental fog, not even knowing. And one of the challenges is that it's not even talked about. And I know we'll probably get to this, but menopause. I was recently at a menopause meeting. It was a group of women, a new documentary. I don't know if it's new, but a documentary is out about menopause. And we went around the room and asked why people came and what we knew about menopause. And one woman said that they were told that menopause happened in one day. Like menopause was one day. It was like, yay, which day? Okay, let me put that on the what?
Yeah.
Right? Are like, oh, when you don't have your period for a year, whatever. It's like since all these things, and I thought, again, it seems so ridiculous. I'm 63, and I thought that perimenopause and then menopause, and then I don't know what, but there's no after menopause. Like it's like then menopause. There's no other stages.
What's the difference between perimenopause and menopause, Kathy?
So perimenopause is kind of where you're starting to not produce the feminine hormones, the estrogen and whatnot. So just before we end our fertility cycle, and then we're in, then we don't get periods anymore, and then we're put out to pasture.
Actually, can I add to that? I learned something recently about the putting out to pasture. So, men talk about their hero's journey, that they're on this arc. Well, women, we are too. We go from maiden to mother to matriarch or oracle. And so the menopause process is really like, okay, you've created babies in your womb, and those exact same hormones, like the FSH, other hormones, are then turned in the body so that we can become oracles and become, spiritual leaders and go out in the community and interact and be leaders, because we're not home with children anymore. I'm like, gosh, that makes so much sense, because that's exactly what I'm doing at 55. Like, I'm like, okay, I learned to love myself. I learned to love my family. Now I can share my wisdom on loving the community with, my intuition, my creativity, and all these things. Like, that was so logical to me. I'm like, oh, that's why that happens.
Well said, Carrie. Next question is, how does untreated anxiety or depression affect women's productivity and relationships in their 20s and 30s?
Great question.
And this is for Kathy. Sorry.
Oh, again, anxiety, stress, depression, they're all they're related in a way. It affects everything. When we're under stress, how could we produce something? How could we create something in our belly that is so sacred, like a baby, when our body's not ready for that? Like when we're in fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn, or whatever, all these stress, when we're in our stress nervous system, we're not in, pardon me, we're not in our productive form. We can't even, although people stress eat, our body doesn't even digest what we're eating when we're stressed. How can we possibly create something? Yeah, so it affects everything. And today we're living in a perpetual state of stress. It's an epidemic.
Yeah, I like that answer. How about you, Carrie?
Well, I think it's the same right brain, left brain problem. We're teaching young girls to be in their left brain, go to college, get a career, make decisions. It's not that women can't make decisions, but we're not teaching women how to be healthy in their right brain. So we're like setting them up for failure, and then teaching them, oh yeah, in your 30s, find a guy. Well, men are attracted to younger generally in like 20, 22, 24, when women's reproduction capabilities are at their finest. So we're teaching women how to be men and then wondering what the problem is. I mean, that's one problem that I see. And so we're overstressing women's physical body because we're not supporting their feminine soul. And then if their feminine soul is repressed and ignored, then the hormones are all out of balance. And, we're encouraging women to be sexually promiscuous when women bond during sex. I mean, sexual promiscuity destroys women's ability to pair bond as wives and mothers, but we're all equal and we all deserve what men deserve, as if sexual promiscuity amongst men is healthy. None of it is healthy, but now we know. We've been there, done that, have the research and go, well, maybe we should go a different route, right? But we all got to take responsibility. Like I was taught, I was never taught how to make food, how to be the center of the home, how to rest. It was always achieve, achieve, achieve. And so in that reality, I don't surrender to my emotions. I don't surrender to being the center of the family because I'm busy acting, but that's masculine. So I think supporting young women to embrace their femininity and teach them what that means, because I think it's a lost art, would really help everyone do a lot better.
For you have the floor for 60 seconds, Carrie, but tell me how did your family tell you to achieve?
Well, I
Like,
was born
yeah.
into an affluent family. My dad argued about paying for child support in front of me before I was 10 years old. I had a job at 12 and I got a job at Hot Dog on a Stick when I was 14. And that job for 6 years, I bought my own car. And I grew up right next to Malibu, right next to the Bachelor Mansion, and my dad had tons of money, and I'm a
Do you
woman.
feel, real quick, do you feel like your culture is like tell, yourself to achieve, like your culture that was in your family rooted it is about achieving and achieving and achieving? How do
Well,
you
it was in the family, also in school. Like when I went to the counselor, Carrie, what college degree are you going to get? What job are you going to get? It's everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. Where are young women supported in being healthy, feminine women? No, they're told to go to college and become social activists. Like, what does a 20-year-old know about anything? Like, my ex-husband's Israeli. My children are half Israeli. Like, I'm 55. I've been around the block. I know a thing or two. Does my 22-year-old? Not really.
Well said. The next question is for Kathy. What role does high cholesterol play in increasing heart disease risk for midlife women, and what simple dietary changes can help manage it?
Well, hypertension, again, I know I keep going back to stress, but stress is kind of the thread that goes through our whole society. And I'm loving this conversation. Carrie, you're so wise. Yeah, I would say we need to go to a more, I'm an omnivore, I eat everything, but we need to be conscious about what we're eating. If we're going to eat meat, we need to eat good meat that's raised where the animals have a good life and they're not injected with all kinds of hormones and chemicals, because then we're eating that. Same with our vegetables that we're eating. They're sprayed with so many chemicals today that we're ingesting all these things. Yeah, it's really related to how could we do better? Oh, well, we could start a garden if that's possible for people. Grow some sprouts, just slowing down and not listening to all the things on social media and all the things that we're taught. Like Carrie, I also had, like, going to school, I had 3 jobs. Yeah, I was, part-time jobs working here. I did several jobs all at once because it's like, oh, look at you. You're so busy. You're a contributing member. Yeah, but what about me? Where was I in all of that? And it is all about comparing how good you are, how many things you have, how much money you have, instead of how you're contributing as this feminine entity. And I love that as we get older, we do become the wise ones, the matriarchs, the crones.
Yeah.
And we get to a point where it doesn't matter what people are saying or doing. We're like, oh no, I don't give a crap anymore.
No.
And it's not that we don't give a crap. We totally do. How could we not? But we don't give a crap. We're more like standing on our own. No, I know stuff now, so I'm not going to be fed down the river. I'm not going to believe all the things that are fed to me, like we do when we don't know what we know. We don't know what we don't know at 22.
Yeah.
Well said, Kathy. And how about you, Carrie?
Can you repeat the question again? I want to make sure I get it right.
Okay, it's what role does high cholesterol play in the increasing heart disease risk for midlife women, and what simple dietary changes, the key question, can help you manage it?
I think that around the 1970s, we got on the wrong track of saying that fat is bad. Now, healthy fat is good. Like, if you get healthy red meat, healthy salmon, the omega-3s, the healthy avocado oil, the coconut oil, there are healthy fats, and that satiates us. So we replace like sugar with fat. So I'd say thing one is make sure you have enough healthy fats like seed oil. My skin was dry. I wasn't eating enough avocado. So I learned that about 10 years ago. And then just make sure that you're having a balanced diet of, greens and fruit. And I know that when I'm overtaxed, when I don't create enough time for self-care and surrender to process my emotions as a woman, then I go to sugar and refined foods, because cortisol, when we have excess cortisol in our blood, it's excess sugar in our blood. It makes us crave sugar. And then we're so stressed out. I just want a moment of just a little chocolate or a little, and then that just keeps us in our rabbit hole of anxiety. And it takes time to get out. Like, give yourself space to, okay, I'm going to make this dietary change this month. And the next month, I'm always successful with baby steps. When I can give myself space to go, you know what? I'm not off the coffee yet, but I stopped the Coke. Go, Carrie. Now I'm going to work for the next few months on the coffee and, slowly but surely turn my diet around. Not like, oh, today it's all over. That's failure, because it's just too much change at once. So,
You're
Okay.
off Coke now. That's good.
yeah.
That's
Kathy,
Coca-Cola, right?
Kathy, do you eat green food like greenage? Do you keep greens in your cabinet or your, should I say, refrigerator?
I have a sprouting branch. In addition to
That's
worms
true.
and laughter, I have a sprouting branch. I eat sprouts every day. And for those listening or watching, sprouts are just superfoods. Seed or bean germinated. The sprouter I use is hydroponic, meaning with water. It doesn't need any sun. And in a day or two, you have delicious, nutritious food. And so, yes, I absolutely, I eat. So it's not really a green, but it's delicious food.
How does it compare to like fiber? Like, do it helps in your colon, your stomach, your heart, your brain? Do you yourself, Kathy, eat like other brain food like smoothies or stuff with creatine in it? What do you do to stay
Yeah, so
healthy?
the sprouts have everything that our body needs. They have fiber, protein, minerals, everything we need. They're hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. I was doing a lot of shows before 2020, and I would exhibit I'd have my worms and my sprouts, very confusing. Marketing's not my forte, apparently. And I would have samples for people to try. And I would say, you can eat as much as you want. Oh, wait, you can't because they're full of fiber. You actually get full. And the enzymes help our body digest, like all the other food that we eat. The enzymes are what help everything move inside our body. Oh, and you said choline, like it's great for all of our organs. The sprouts are really amazing. Additive.
What, Carrie, what does like bad food do to our body? How do you feel like we should change our eating habits? And what are your goals that you get challenged by every day?
So I think one to remember is that our digestive tract is like 90% of our mental health.
Yeah.
So all of that like all goes together. I mean, I would say that a year ago, I processed a lot. I faced my fear of being raped and I overcame it. And then right after, I just let go of Coke easily. So if you're in a lot of like unhealthy food, that is like your body and your eating habits showing you how many emotional wounds you have to process. And when you process the wound and turn it into wisdom, then you just naturally let go of the bad habits and the bad thoughts. Like the habits and thoughts, all that goes together. So I would say to people, I'm not a dietary expert like Kathy, like reminding me, oh my gosh, I need to get back to my sprouts. I'm not a dietary expert at all, but I do know like the signs and symptoms of what's showing you that you have a wound. So giving yourself that space, like 4 years ago, I had to learn how to rest at 52 years old. 52 years old. It was 51. But anyway, in my 50s, I finally learned how to rest, like, and give myself space to rest, not just continually run myself into the ground. Like, what? But that is not uncommon for people who were raised in a traumatic childhood and never healed, never like reparented themselves, never recalibrated their nervous system to resonate with love and compassion instead of fear, guilt, and shame. Like, a healthy person resonates with love, compassion, and well-being, but an unhealthy person, doesn't. So I'd say if that's your habits, then, I walk barefoot in nature, start journaling, start a gratitude practice. Simple, like I'm grateful it's raining today. I'm grateful for my house. Like start somewhere. Again, like baby steps.
Can I talk about the food? A new study just came out. Colorectal cancer is on the rise in young people. In their 20s, 30s, too young, my goodness. And they're attributing it to junk food because there's so many chemicals that what the heck is all that stuff? If you can't pronounce it, my goodness. And that's our habit now. You know, when I
Yeah.
grew up, there wasn't even like the fast food outlets weren't on every corner. People cooked from scratch because they didn't have money. But it costs a lot to go to those restaurants, and we're marketed to, so it looks so appealing, like the place that has, you know, gives a toy with the little meal for the kids. Like, who doesn't want that as a kid?
Yeah,
But
you get
you
all
know,
these chemists together and, you know, they come up with these concoctions that make people want to keep coming back, you know. So how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel like y'all changed y'all habits, starting with Kathy, with junk food? Were you ever a junk food person, or were you always a natural type person?
oh me.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up at a time when women could have 5 jobs, like secretary, teacher, nurse. I can't remember all them now. And I chose secretary, and I was meant to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know. And I was a great secretary as a people pleaser. Tell me what to do, for sure. How great. I had stomach issues, and I was eating on the run, like buying my lunch and eating junk just to feed my soul. As Carrie said earlier, when we have wounds and trauma, we just want to feed it, and we get addicted. And back to the chemists, there's a bliss point. It's the perfect amount of salt, sugar that is so tasty that we're just like, our brain goes, oh yeah, more of that, even though it's not. It's empty calories. So you could eat a whole bag of chips and still be hungry, just feel sick. But you can't stop. Like, there's a commercial, you bet you can't eat just one. Yeah, you can't, because they're addicting.
Well said. And how about you, Carrie? How do you feel about that?
I mean, it all goes back to when we accept that women need a lot of time to surrender to their emotions and process their emotions because they're responsible for connection with self. And when we're not embracing women's femininity and we treat them like men, then we create all these problems ourselves. Like, how many young kids, 20s and 30s, they can't buy a house? They're stressed out. They don't have enough money. They're living in their cars. And sure, there's a lot of stuff in the food for sure. But we have taught them, you know, and then, you know, people are complaining there's too much money at the top. Sure, companies hoard the money with stocks and everything, with CEOs and executives, and people in the middle barely get pay raises. Like, I was at corporate America for 20 years at Anthem Blue Cross. Like, I know that reality. Every year I made less. Here's your raise, Carrie, but inflation's higher. Sorry. Oh, but the executive, right? Okay. And so, you know, if we could come up with a solution to make, you know, kind of like, you can have 20% of the profits, or, you know, whatever it is, and everybody else gets 80%, you know, whatever it is, like a 50-year mortgage, that's just more stress. Like, we need real solutions. Like, imagine if we paid people properly, then women could stay at home, and then we have AI to help with the assistant stuff. And then, you know, you get men with their assistants and cheating and all the, like, you know, let's admit what the problem is, which for me, it's, we don't we don't hold space for women to value themselves and for men to value themselves. And let's prioritize a healthy nuclear family, because in that scenario, then everyone's cared for. But we have to get back to that point. We had to, like, unearth all these wounds, like, you know, show men, like, we're not having it anymore. Feminism came. We don't like what was going on. We need something new. And now I'm hoping we kind of, like, a new traditionalism, so to speak, where women are empowered to stay home, take care of the kids, be that emotional center. Our nervous systems are wired for it. The man provides and protects, and we can create this reality together, but it's going to take a lot of work.
This is the last question. Based on the knowledge from both of y'all in corporate world, how do you feel, and what kind of job do you feel like women out there that are watching this show right now should have, so that they can be just as powerful as a man out there that has a job that is sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes limiting and suppressing women in the corporate world, period. And that goes for Carrie.
You know, you know, like I said, I have a master's degree. I speak Chinese. I've lived all over the world. I've, you know, worked in corporate America. And I can tell you thing one, corporate America destroys femininity.
Mm.
So if we want to, and so asking the question of men versus women in a masculine space, like men hormonally, physiologically are designed for 50, 60 hours of work, you know, and every day, like our hormones are based on a 28-day cycle. Theirs are on a 24-hour cycle.
Mm.
So telling us to do the same thing every day as if our bodies are the same, treating us like men, that is what I see the problem is. You know, I'm not saying it's easy to get out of what we've created, but valuing women's femininity. And then when women embrace their role as the emotional center, that is where mental health is created and sustained. We're in a mental health crisis because in part, women left the center and we're encouraged to do that. So my answer is encourage women to be the center of the family, to have a career they could do from home part-time and to be there with the kids. That from a, you know, what's best biologically, emotionally, and spiritually is kind of my conclusion at 55 years old after being through a divorce as a child, having 3 kids, going through a divorce, working, you know, the whole kind of modern woman lifestyle. I say that's not healthy for women.
How about you, Kathy?
Yeah, it's hard to say like what kind of job. I agree wholeheartedly with what Carrie said. I think to change the system, I don't know how that's going to happen. We definitely need more people, more women at the top, more CEOs, more managers, more women running countries, because there would be less, there would be more collaboration and less conflict. I feel like with the patriarchal system that we have right now, women are discounted. And we were talking about health today, and I would say our healthcare system, we're treated as little men. Like they didn't even really do research for women. It's just like, oh, just give them less dosage or what, you know. So menopause wasn't even studied. You know, there was a thing about hormone replacement medication for women that came out saying that the studies was, you know, saying that it causes cancer or whatever it was. So they stopped giving hormone replacement. I'm not for or against, just that it was just stopped, and it was like, okay, the end. What happened when that happened, when people stopped taking hormone replacement, is it increased heart disease, cancer, everything was on the rise. And I was like, why would they not want to sell these, you know, we're pharma driven. Why wouldn't they want to sell these pharma products to half the population? Oh, because they may, and this is going to sound like conspiracy, but then that increases, oh, well, they're going to get heart disease, cancer, diabetes. They're going to get all these other things. So we can make way more money if we just leave them over there.
You know, if I was big pharma, and I'm gonna be honest, that's a good point, because if I was big pharma and I can get money off it, I wouldn't do it if it was me. But I have to say it this way in order to bypass the YouTube system. So if I was big pharma, I would sit up there and do that, you know, because they know that they can make money off of things that they're hurting us. They're no better than the drug dealers, that one drug dealer can hurt over and kill over 500 people. They're no better. You know, we need drugs that can solve problems, not make things worse or exacerbate things. So Carrie, how can the people reach you?
My website is carrieblazer.com. My book, My Inner Heroine, Exploring Feminine Pain, is on Amazon.
And how about you, Kathy?
I'm going to give you my laughter page. It's kathysclub.com. And yeah, I have a free laughter club on Tuesday mornings online. And the information's on my website.
Thank you. And stay on the line, you guys. Thank you guys for joining my show today. Be safe. Take care. And I'll see you guys another time. Bye.